Welcome back, everyone. Nick here. This is going to be another market review following the Sunday market blitz for every week. So we're just going to review here the analysis that we gave out on Sunday and covered with you guys on that live session and pretty much see how we did, see how these analyses played out, how accurate they were, and what trade opportunities there were that actually did play out. So let's get into it and start off with DXY, as we always do. So we started off, we were very bearish, pretty overextended. We're expecting a bit of a pullback, but it was, looking more bearish. We're definitely closer to, a continuation to the downside. And we knew that if we broke back into this range, that we could see more bullish movement, but more representing indecision in the market. So let's see how this played out. So price action pulled back to the zone, 95.8, and we're holding pretty steady right now. We are getting some higher lows, which isn't a great sign. But right now, both of these trade scenarios are still pretty much valid. So this whole week, it was pretty much the retracement followed by the consolidation. So pretty good so far. Didn't get the rejection we wanted, and it potentially anticipated for this week, but it's looking like we're going to see some sort of reaction next week, whether a break or bounce here. Okay, so DXY. Let's go over to AU. And a thing to note, guys, is just like I'm doing here, you can pull this chart up at any point during the week, hit this play button, and see how either trade path is progressing. Okay, so here on AU, the idea was bullish. We're in a nice, pretty strong channel here, good volume, and we had a key support level at 0.72. So we're expecting some sort of higher low formation, some sort of reaction like we've seen in the past. And this is a nice area, a nice convergence area here where we could see that nice bounce. Okay, and the opposite, we need to see a break of 0.72, clear break, pull back for a lower high, and then continuation to the downside. So let's see how this played out. Okay, so we're stalling a little bit. We did get the initial reaction, so there was an entry opportunity there, pushing up. You would have had to clip this trade or endure a break even, but it did go well into profit for quite a bit. Good entries in this area, again, where the higher low was. Price action did fall back down, and we are pretty much in that area where it could still pull back or it could continue to fall, and then we could deem this a attempted break where we need to see that next confirmation next week in the form of a lower high, and then we could potentially look to short. But yeah, it did play out pretty well in the beginning. Didn't quite hit our final level, resistance at 0.73. Did just pull back. So yeah, be aware of this zone, guys. 0.72, looking to get below or looking to stay above for next week's analysis. Okay, but AU followed the trade path about 70%, 80% of the way, and then came right back. So there was some opportunity there. Would have had to manage it accordingly. So let's jump over to AJ. This one was the opposite. We're looking pretty bearish, but we were overextended, needed to see some sort of pullback. We had identified a nice convergence area here, a lot happening, a lot of confirmations where we could get that next lower high in this setup. And likely, it looked like it would be, about the same area as well, just measuring the size of the volume along with that. But a bit overextended, needed to see some sort of pullback and lower high to make a move short. But if this continued and rallied all the way up, broke through our weekly, established a high above 83.25, came back, gave us a higher low, we could be looking long, and then we target 85. Okay, so let's see how that played out. That was the idea last week. And it pulled back, not quite as deep as we wanted to. It kind of started to form a top right here. And then we just started bouncing off this level pretty much right at 82.85. And then here was the confirmation, came in, one candle, two candle, and then we were pretty much out from there. So very small window of opportunity if you were to enter. Would have been on this candle. Good setups on the 1 hour. But it did fall all the way to our expected area at 81.5. So good analysis there. Played out 100%. Or well, let's say 90 because we did expect it to come back a little bit more. Overall, the bias was there, and there was some opportunity. Okay, so we'll have more to cover on this one, a new analysis for this week, where this is now the key zone, 81.5. We'll be looking for some sort of bounce or break and retest, see if this is going to continue lower. Okay, so that's AJ. Let's move over to UJ, see how this one played out. And this one was at the bottom of the list, probably the least expected pair for the week because it really wasn't giving us much structure. It was really exaggerated volume. We had this huge overextended break here. Price action came back, failed to form a higher low and followed through, and then it just kind of melted from there back within this range. Just keep in mind, right around this monthly as support and 114.15 as resistance. We've seen it act as a pretty strong range for quite a while. So we're still aware of that, and we did fall below that. So we were kind of, hesitant on taking any trades, but the short scenario would have been just a continuation. At this point, we're looking to find a resistance there. That was the most likely, and then it would just keep falling. Okay, if we were to consider this more bullish, we just need to see a higher low. We need to see normal structure. So that higher low would have been a nice indication above 114.15 that this might push higher. Okay, but again, we weren't expecting too much from this, but that was the analysis going into this week. So let's see how it played out. Okay, so it pushed up. It looked like it was going to form a higher low and then continue. Failed to. Instead, it just kind of chopped a little bit, gave us small reactions, and then it fell back down. So we're back within the range. Again, I'm not expecting a great setups for this one next week either. We just need to see more. At this point, I'd like to see consolidation, some nice ranging, and then we could, start looking for breaks. But yeah, that's just how UJ's been lately. Not too great. And then, yeah, obviously didn't respect either setup, right? It made an attempt to go long, failed, pushed lower, and now it's falling back to our original support level that we thought. So nothing too great out of UJ. Let's jump over to EJ, see how this one was. So we knew that we had a pretty well-established range here, good distance apart, which is key, 135 pips. So that was giving us some good volume, which is nice. So when this finally chose its direction, ideally we're going to get a good trade setup. But right now, overall bullish, or it was overall bullish. We were looking for this to kind of push higher here. I did talk about this on Sunday, how there might have been a trade opportunity if the conviction was really strong here. You could have entered long. Again, there would have been more risk involved, but if you could have pulled it off by, at least the resistance, you get a good risk reward and kind of make the trade worth it. But more conservatively, we're waiting for a higher low above 131.35 and then enter on some nice bullish candle setups and then target towards resistance. Okay, if this did fall, so this was kind of the key level, right? 130. It was kind of holding this whole bit of a range bullish still, and until this was broken, it had that bias. But this was the flip side. We wanted to see it break 130, get the lower high, and then we'd be comfortable entering short. Because again, this is really that strong level here for this time frame. So this is exactly what it did. It pushed up, failed to touch 131.35. It actually formed a lower high here and then melted. So it broke 130, gave us a nice retest, and there was an entry there. Nice conviction candle on that engulfing. That's your entry. On the 1 hour, it's just loaded with setup. Let's take a look at that actually. Let's jump over to EJ. Okay. So here is that setup right here. Nice engulfing. Stop loss would have been well protected. Again, above these highs, and then also above 130. Would have chose about 50 pips roughly here. Okay. And target 129. So we didn't actually get, let's drop to the 1 hour for a second here. Yeah, here it is. There we go. Just clear this up. Measure this out again. So this was your entry here. Okay. About 40 some odd pips, targeting down towards 128. Well over 2-to-1. Look at this price action. Once it really confirmed there with that engulfing, it just trickled down all the way down. Not the greatest volume, kind of odd price action, but that first candle is really the one that you needed, right? That's the engulfing, and then it kind of fell all the way down to support as the analysis highlighted for trade scenario 2. Okay, so pretty good analysis on EJ played out there. We'll have a new analysis on Sunday for you guys, new trade outlooks for the week, for next week. But yeah, good stuff on EJ. Let's jump over to gold. Okay, so we're back in the range here. The most likely thing was that gold was going to drop down towards 1785, the support for this range. But the flip side was that if it went bullish, we need to see a higher low above 1825. This would have been a really nice trade as well. But again, it depends on if the range was actually broken and where we can spot structure. So let's see how this played out for this past week. Okay, gave us a bit of a flag pattern as it developed into the week and then took off. So we broke 1825, our weekly, and now we're coming back to test it. So this is where we're looking for higher lows. Nice bullish reactions off this level will confirm a nice long setup next week. So let's keep an eye on this one. This one's going to be high on the list. But yeah, I went with trade option 2, right? We didn't fall to the bottom of the range. We actually broke to the upside. So let's see if it confirms for next week or if it will fall back. Okay. So yeah, those are the pairs that we covered for this week: DXY, AU, AJ, UJ, EJ, Gold. And again, these are active charts. You guys can utilize these through the week. We put these out on Sunday, so come Wednesday, you can pull these up, see which trades you're close to executing, and then kind of compare that to your own analysis and make decisions, that way if you want that aid. But yeah, so we do this every week. This is a pretty good review. So join us again this Sunday, and we'll cover all these again. All right, guys. Until then, enjoy yourself. Take care, and I'll see you guys soon.